It begins with a whisper, a voice inside the head of Wade Wilson. Deadpool. Now, Deadpool has always heard voices. It's part of his tragic, twisted nature. But this time, it wasn't the usual banter. This voice was different. Darker, sharper. And it would push him to commit the most horrifying act in comic history, killing the entire Marvel Universe. The story opens with Deadpool locked away. He's in a mental hospital, bound, restrained, cut off from the chaos of the outside world. His friends, the X-Men, had brought him there. They thought it would help. They thought a cure might ease his madness. But the truth? This wasn't a hospital at all. It was a prison. And the doctor in charge wasn't healing Wade. He was making him worse. The doctor whispered about control, about silencing the voices, about rewriting who Deadpool was. And somewhere in the shadows, another voice crept into Wade's mind. One that told him everything he'd ever believed was a lie. Then came the breaking point. Wade snapped. In a fit of violence, he slaughtered his way out of the hospital. The X-Men, who had brought him there in the first place, stood in shock. Cyclops, Emma Frost, Beast, Wolverine, all powerless to stop him. Because this wasn't the funny, joke-cracking Deadpool they knew. This was a Deadpool who had discovered something chilling, that he, and every hero around him, were just puppets. Puppets on strings, dancing for the amusement of someone else. Not gods, not legends. Just characters in a story. And the voice in his head? It told him exactly what to do about it. Deadpool turned his back on heroics. No more team-ups. No more mercenary jokes. No more pretending. If everyone was just a character, then the only way to be free was to kill the entire cast. The first victims were close to home. The Fantastic Four. Deadpool didn't just fight them. He hunted them. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic himself, the smartest man alive, died first. Then came Sue Storm, blasted down without warning. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, burned out forever. And Ben Grimm, the Thing, crushed beneath Wade's blades. In the blink of an eye, Marvel's first family was gone. And Deadpool wasn't slowing down. He had a list. He had a mission. He was going to kill everyone. Heroes, villains, icons, gods. Nobody was safe. But the most terrifying part wasn't the killing itself. It was the way Deadpool spoke while doing it. He wasn't angry. He wasn't laughing. He was calm, cold, almost relieved. Because in his mind, he wasn't committing murder. He was setting everyone free. And once the Fantastic Four fell, the rest of the Marvel Universe knew something horrifying. Deadpool wasn't just dangerous anymore. He was unstoppable. The multiverse has faced threats before: Galactus, Thanos, Kong, Doom. But those were villains with motives. With logic. With a goal you could predict. Deadpool? He had no master plan. Just a conviction. And that made him the most terrifying killer Marvel had ever seen. And this was only the beginning. Because next on his list were the Avengers. The Avengers never saw it coming. How could they? Deadpool was always the wild card, the jester, the comic relief. Not the monster. But now, he was death in red and black. The attack came sudden. Avengers Mansion. Earth's mightiest heroes gathered inside. Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow. The doors burst open. And there stood Deadpool, swords gleaming, eyes glowing with madness. Cap shouted for formation. Thor raised his hammer. Iron Man's armor hummed to life. But it didn't matter. Deadpool's first move was brutal. He hurled Pym particles into the air, stolen tech from Hank Pym himself. Before anyone understood what was happening, they detonated. The Wasp shrank uncontrollably, shrinking until she vanished into nothingness. Ant-Man grew massive in seconds, and then his body collapsed under the sudden strain, bones shattering, lungs imploding. Screams filled the mansion. Hawkeye fired a perfect arrow, but Deadpool caught it midair, snapped it in half, and drove the broken shaft into Clint's throat. Blood sprayed the walls. Black Widow lunged, her combat training unmatched, but Deadpool laughed. He sidestepped, whispered something cruel about her being nothing more than ink on a page, and slit her throat. One by one, Earth's greatest protectors fell. But Deadpool saved the most symbolic death for last. Captain America. The two clashed, shield against blade. Cap fought like a soldier who refused to surrender. Every strike was perfect. Every move tactical. But Deadpool was different now. He wasn't bound by fear. He wasn't bound by rules. He was free because he knew none of it mattered. When Cap raised his shield, Deadpool stabbed straight through it. Straight through Steve's chest. And with that, the living embodiment of American heroism fell. Iron Man tried to escape, blasting into the sky. But Deadpool anticipated it. He hacked Tony's armor mid-flight, turning his own systems against him. Iron Man screamed as his suit twisted, folded, and crushed him alive inside. Then came Thor. The god of thunder raised Mjolnir. Lightning crackled, the heavens shook. This would be the fight. This would be the stand. But Deadpool had a trick waiting. Enchanted Pym tech, bonded with mystical runes. As Thor summoned the storm, Deadpool triggered it. Mjolnir expanded, multiplying its own weight. The hammer, Thor's greatest weapon, crushed the god's arm. And in a single slash, Deadpool carved across Thor's throat. A god. Slain. And then the Hulk. Banner tried to stay calm. He begged Deadpool. Pleaded with him. But Wade only smiled. You'll turn, he whispered. You always do. So Deadpool set Banner on fire. The pain ripped through Bruce's body, forcing the transformation. The Hulk roared into existence. A monster of rage. A being of pure destruction. But Deadpool was ready. He dodged, taunted, and slashed. And when Hulk finally grabbed him, tearing Deadpool apart, Wade didn't scream. He just laughed. Because Deadpool always comes back. Piece by piece, Wade reformed. And when Hulk reverted to Banner, exhausted, weakened, Deadpool finished him with a single, merciful stab. The Avengers were gone. Wiped out. The world's strongest line of defense had fallen to one man. But Deadpool wasn't done. Far from it. Because while the world was still reeling from the Avengers massacre, Deadpool set his sights higher. On the gods. On the cosmic beings. On the very architects of the Marvel Universe itself. And in his mind, the mission was clear: no one escapes the page. No one escapes the story. The bloodbath had only begun. The Avengers were gone. The X-Men were slaughtered. The Fantastic Four lay in ruins. But Deadpool's crusade wasn't over. Not even close. Because Wade Wilson had seen something no other hero, no other villain, could truly comprehend. The strings. The hands that pulled them. The architects of every battle, every death, every happy ending. The writers. It started small. Deadpool turned his attention to the cosmic beings. The Watcher. Galactus. Even eternity itself. Normally, these were forces beyond comprehension. But to Deadpool, they were just more panels to cut through. He decapitated the Watcher with a single swing, mocking the being who always swore never to interfere, and yet stood watching. He lured Galactus into a trap, bombarding him with stolen weapons until even the Devourer of Worlds collapsed. And when he reached eternity, Deadpool whispered something terrifying. You're not forever. You're just a paragraph. And with that, he ended him. But the real horror wasn't what Deadpool did to gods. It was what he discovered beyond them. Because Wade broke through the final page. He stepped out of the panels. Out of the gutters of the comic itself. And there he saw them. The writers. The creators. The men and women scripting every line, every twist, every tragic death. And he killed them too. The story takes a surreal turn here. We see Deadpool stalking the offices of Marvel itself. The illustrators. The editors. The story architects who thought they were safe behind the wall of fiction. One by one, Deadpool silenced them. Mocking their reliance on tropes. Tearing through their scripts. Dismantling the very narrative machine that gave him life. It wasn't just murder anymore. It was erasure. And then came the most chilling moment. Deadpool turned and looked directly at the reader. You think you're safe? He asked. You, sitting there, flipping through these pages. Laughing. Cheering. Crying. But you're part of this too. You're the reason we suffer. You're the reason we fight. Without you, none of this exists. So, maybe you're next. The story ends not with resolution, but with silence. Deadpool walking away, swords dripping, leaving nothing but white panels behind him. Empty pages. A void. Marvel's entire universe erased. All because one man, one broken mind, one joke character realized the ultimate truth, that everything he loved, everything he hated, was just ink and paper. And he refused to play along anymore. The horror of Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe isn't the body count. It isn't the shocking violence. It's the idea that if a character ever realized they were fiction, if they ever broke through the fourth wall completely, there would be no stopping them. And in the end, Deadpool proved one thing. The biggest threat to the Marvel Universe wasn't Thanos, wasn't Galactus, wasn't Kong. It was the man who refused to be bound by the rules of the story.